Hey everybody, excited to do my first long form YouTube video here, and I figure I'm going to start off by showing everyone my watch collection. So we're going to go through all of these individually. I'm really excited to show you guys my collection. I actually just got a new one today, so it kind of led to that as well. But let's jump in here. So I just really kind of got into watches really a couple years ago, and then this year or 2025, really the bug has hit me pretty good. And now into 2026, it seems like we're not slowing down, but hopefully that changes at some point. Otherwise, this is gonna get pretty crazy. The first watch I want to show is actually not in my case now that I don't have space for it because there's 12 watches or slots for 12 watches here. But want to show this one. It's not in my rotation. It is my father's old watch. It is a Quartz Belova from the 80s. You can see it's pretty beat up. My father passed away when I was 10 years old, and my mom gave me this watch when I was 18. Probably not a great idea to give a nicer watch to an 18-year-old boy who was working at McDonald's and then later went to college and fraternity parties and all of that. So I beat it up pretty good. It actually is not running anymore. I'm going to need to kind of work on that, see if I can get that fixed. But yeah, that was watch number one. Um, Really the first watch that I purchased a couple years ago is this little guy right here. Um, this is a Tissot PRX automatic. Uh, Sharp watch for sure. Um, Super shiny, kind of has a little bit of that Royal Oak look to it. But a sharp watch, great way to really kind of start the collection there. That's the automatic version, so you can tell with like the waffle dial and so forth. I got that in green. I love green. So much so that my second watch that I also purchased when I picked up that PRX was this guy right here, a little Citizen Eco Drive chronograph. Nothing super crazy. It was on sale, and I was excited about it, and figured, you know, let's get into this hobby full blown. So my first two watches both started off being green. And again, I love green dials. It's always tough to kind of avoid them, but yeah, those were my first two. My next one here, I really love. I still rock this one a lot. This is just a Hamilton khaki, 36 millimeter, I believe, in white. I love this thing because it's a strap monster, right? Like the strap that I have on here is an aftermarket one. I think I bought like a pack of like 10 different ones for like 20 bucks on Amazon. And they all look good, and it's nice because you can kind of match with your outfit, whatever you're rocking for the day. And with that white dial, it's just gonna pop. So really big fan of that one. It originally came with the like a tan leather strap, which I have. I just didn't think to put it on before I started this video. My fourth watch here is one that I got from a employee website. Like I hit my 10-year anniversary, and they have one of those little websites where you can go and pick out whatever little random things with the money they give you. So I went with this G-Shock here. I like the yellow because I figured yellow was going to be a tough color for me to get in a watch somewhere else. But they're a tank, right? Always recommend to everyone, if you have a watch collection, get a G-Shock. They're inexpensive. They're still well respected. You can do anything in them, right? Like they're pretty indestructible. When the end of the world comes, all that's going to be left is cockroaches and G-Shocks. So pick yourself up one if you don't have one. Like I said, they're pretty indestructible. Um, the next watch I got here is when we kind of stepped all this up and got my first big boy watch. I didn't think I was going to get this watch as soon as I did. I got really fortunate with that. And that is the Rolex Submariner date. So I was really fortunate. I went into an AD and figured I'd have to put my name on the list and all of that. I actually had my name on a list at another AD, but I went into this one out in the burbs because somebody that I work with has a extensive Rolex collection, and I thought, well, what happens if I name drop him? So I did that, and they remembered him, they knew him, and ultimately that led to them just selling me one on the spot. I mean, I had to wire the money and all that. It took a couple of days, but there wasn't really any waiting. It was just the transaction. So that was my first big boy watch, the Rolex Submariner Date. Great watch. I love the way that it feels. You can see the quality and craftsmanship in it. It's one I definitely bust out quite a bit, right? This next watch I got when I went to Japan, and this is what I thought was going to be my first big boy watch, but I got lucky with the Rolex here. I picked up a few different watches in Japan, so the next three that we're doing, and actually all of these, I'm going in chronological order, right? So the watch that I got first, we'll see the watch that I got today last. This is the first watch that I picked up in Japan. I was like motivated to be on a mission to go get this thing, like the first thing I wanted to do in Japan. And this is the Grand Seiko Shenbun. Just an absolutely beautiful watch. Like some people look at it like, oh, is that like mother of pearl or something like that for the dial? No, that's a stamped metal. That looks good in all sorts of different light. It has a little bit of a light pinkish hue to signify cherry blossoms, right? So it's known as a cherry blossom, or in honor of spring. So these watches, like you probably, if you're into Grand Seikos, if you're into watches, you've probably seen videos on this before, but I can't encourage you enough to go out and go see one of these in person, because the pictures, the videos never do these things justice. I love this thing. Has the spring drive, so you see that awesome sweep of movement there. Just that awesome Japanese craftsmanship, right? So that was my first watch in Japan. This second one, I had no plan on getting in Japan, but I went to Nakano Broadway, and if any of you are watch fanatics, I imagine a lot of you are, if you're sticking through now 7 minutes of this video. You'll know that Nakano Broadway is a great place to go for great watch deals, secondhand, vintage, all of that. Like I said, if you love watches, you're a kid in a candy store there. I went just to check it out. I'd already gotten my Grand Seiko, and the watch that I got after this next one I'm going to show you here was one I was planning on getting in Kyoto, but I got sucked in and I got this Tudor Pelagos in blue. This is a watch that I wanted at some point. I just didn't figure it was going to be in Japan, but one of the stores had it brand new at a crazy price that I just couldn't resist. So I pulled the trigger on it. I love this thing. It's a little bit thicker and feels kind of more like of a tool watch than even the Submariner, even though Tudor and Rolex are the same company. They say Tudor's the shield that protects the crown being Rolex. And I love this amazing band on it. It's titanium, but has all the micro adjustments. Great feel. A lot of people are critical of the Grand Seiko bands, and I don't notice anything like terrible with the Grand Seiko bands, but I can tell you that this is a superior band to the Grand Seiko, even though they're both titanium. The next watch, the last watch I picked up in Japan, was one that I was planning on doing as well when I was in Kyoto, and luckily their store was right close to my Airbnb, so like I hopped over there, made a trip of it, and this is the Kuo Old Smith in bronze. I wanted a bronze watch, so this kind of checked that box there. They let you go and pick the strap. I was able to get it custom engraved. It has like my name and like the date that I was in Kyoto, like in English and Japanese. But a beautiful watch, not super expensive. And in Japan, it's even less than like what we would pay here in the US. So, really, really awesome, awesome watch there. Like I said, I'm a big fan of that, of Kuo. Definitely want to check out. This next one here, I keep on forgetting. Like I always have to go back and look up the name. So I'll type the name up here. You'll probably see it like right here, right now. This was a watch that I got at a kind of craft show that our office building does. Like I work in the Merchandise Mart in Chicago. It's a massive building. It was actually the largest building in the world before the Pentagon. And during the holiday season, they take over like a whole floor. And again, this building's like 2 city blocks long. Um, and kind of have all these craft vendors, artisans all kind of come in here. And I like going for like a lot of like little food items, kind of some craft food items and, some art for around the house. But they had this guy that was, or this company that was making watches. And, these are made out of reclaimed wood, I believe, from South America, and had a really cool cork band. And I was like, well, let's check that out, and it wasn't very expensive. I think it was, about $200. And it was just something different, right? Like I don't have a watch made out of wood and all that. I think it's a basic quartz movement, like nothing super fancy there, but just something a little bit different. And again, like in the throes of like this watch collecting, it was just like, well, just add it to the list, I guess. But yeah, a lot of fun there too. This next one, I was really excited about. I got this one like back in December or early December. It's a Brumetric retro dial. It does have chronograph functionality there, but Brew is a micro brand out of New York. They kind of have everything themed kind of around coffee, hence the name Brew. This retro is just got a cool look to it, right? Kind of like that TV kind of shape to it. Some fun kind of retro colors. A really fun watch. Different kind of bracelet here as well. Definitely cool. Check out Brew. They're a great micro brand. They make some really cool stuff. That metric line is what they're most known for, but they have all sorts of different colors and styles that you can pick that up in. But yeah, definitely a fun watch there. And then this watch here was the last watch that I got back in 2025. And I think is pretty fun. It's a Mondaine Essence. Great Bauhaus design. This watch face is actually licensed from the Swiss railways. If you are waiting for a train in the Swiss train stations, the clocks all look exactly like this. And I just love kind of that Bauhaus design with a little bit of a pop of red. Just a sharp little watch, nothing super expensive here either, but just kind of add some different variety to the collection. And that brings us to our last watch, which I just picked up a couple hours ago that I was really excited about. Another one I didn't think maybe I'd get as quickly as I did, but we kind of lucked out. And this is the Rolex Polar Explorer 2. I love a good white dial and I love orange and I tried looking at some other watches that would maybe kind of scratch the itch for me not buying this thing, and I just couldn't really steer away from it. So I went to the Rolex dealer near my house in downtown Chicago a couple weeks ago, and I was like, hey, like I really want a Polar Explorer 2. Put my name on the list. Figured it'd be a while. Like I know they're not as in demand as say a Submariner or a GMT or a Daytona. But figure I'd have to wait. I only had to wait really like a little bit over a week, and they called me up and they had it, and I was like, all right, let's do this. So again, you got to wire in the money and all of that, which I did last week, and they're closed on Sunday and Monday. So I just went and picked it up today. But I just love the way that this thing looks. A little bit bigger than the Submariner, even though like my new Submariner is 41 inches, is a 42. And it's interesting, like when you put them side by side, you can notice, that 1 millimeter doesn't sound like much, but you can kind of notice it. I don't know if you guys will be able to kind of tell the difference there. But I mean, it just seems like it's noticeable. I don't know if maybe that's the difference in white and black and all of that, but the Polar Explorer is 1 millimeter bigger. So yeah, that is my collection. Like I said, most of these I bought like last year. I've definitely got bit by the watch bug quite a bit. I hope it calms down a little bit. Though it is super fun, and I love the all the different watches that are out there. I'm happy with my collection. I can think of 100 other watches that I would love to buy. And even after I actually picked up that Rolex, I went across the street and there's a great store there that had a ton of amazing different watches that again, it's like there's always something new. But let me know your thoughts, right? Are there any watches that really kind of caught your eye that you were interested in, or maybe weren't familiar with? I feel like a lot of my collection, if you're into watches, you're probably familiar with most of them. But let me know, right? Do you think that there's anything missing? What should I look for next? But happy to hear your comments and your feedback. Thanks so much for taking the time. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.